Hey everybody, I thought I would give a demonstration of a piece of software that I wrote in summer and fall of 2018 called Ccvedit, which is short for CoCo VGA editor, with the intent of this piece of software makes it easy to edit a character set, and so it requires a CoCo 1 or 2, 64K of RAM, some sort of RS-DOS like disk operating system, disk extended color basic, or extended color basic with DriveWire, or the CoCo SDC. In this demonstration I'll be using CoCo SDC, and a CoCo VGA board. It's actually required to run the editor because we needed more characters, or more colors, excuse me, to do what we needed to do. Anyway, to start it up, you can download it as a disk image from the CoCo VGA website, and we'll go ahead and load it in here and run it. You'll see it boots up and says press any key to begin. So press any key. Now I should note this, like I said, this is running in VG6, which is the 16 color 128 by 96 mode. And so in here we have three basic screen regions. We have the lower portion, which is the repository that shows you the character set that you're working on right now, all 256 of those characters. We have the editor region, which sort of shows you a zoomed in version of the character you're working on and lets you modify it. And we have the pad, which lets you stitch multiple characters or multiple semi-graphics characters together so that you can see what setting certain tiles, certain 8x12 characters side by side will look like when you use them later. So there's some other regions of the screen. I don't know if you noticed that as I navigate around in the repository, the top left corner of the screen changes. So there's the hex character code, ASCII character code, and the decimal, and then the character itself, or what it would be if it was displayed on a standard 6847 with no modifications. There's some also some indicators that show up, like for example when you're here it says SG4, which means it's above 100 character 128, which is generally semi-graphics on a CoCo. And then this section, which the indicator indicates that these are inverted, generally inverse video characters. So anyway, so given all that, let's start with the repository. So in the repository, we can do things like do operations that are related to the entire character set itself. So these highlighted in yellow characters are the commands. So in this case, if we wanted to do a directory listing, we could do a directory listing of drive 0 or 1. And in here we see a number of, there's a bunch of binary files, but there are also .chr files, which are the binary character sets that are compatible with Ccvedit and also happen to be compatible with CoCo VGA. Now, that said, these character sets could certainly be modified and burned into a ROM for folks who have a character ROM expansion for their 6847s. They wouldn't have to have CoCo VGA to use the character set, but to use the editor you need it. So in any case, let's go ahead, and we're interested in lower kit. Let's see what the lower kit for the CoCo character set used to look like. So we'll come back here, L to load, lower kit, and we're going to load it from drive 0. Here we go. So this is what the lower kit character set looked like. Now it has some modifications that I've made. Like I don't think there are any trees or card suits or things like that. Those are some additions that I put in there. There's the lowercase characters that were used, uppercase, And I also took some liberties with the semi-graphics characters to sort of make them look like bubbles stitched together. So then if we were to modify some of these, we could save them out using the S key in a very similar manner to how we loaded, and we can do that in a little bit. If, on the other hand, we wanted to do something like, take some of these characters, and maybe we wanted to make it, animate a couple characters. Let's take this asterisk, we'll copy it using C, paste it using V, and then we could say go into the editor and manipulate the alternative version of this character. So let's make the star look like it's flashing, so that if we drew these one after the other in time, we would be able to see it grow and shrink and grow and shrink. And let's go ahead and we'll go back to the repository and we'll copy this one further, bring it over here and edit it. So there you would have something you could have your asterisk grow and shrink if you animated that on the color computer, or in BASIC or assembly language or whatever, using characters 106, 107, and 108, or 6A, 6B, and 6C if you prefer hex. So another thing you can do is, say for example, you like the idea of using some of these characters. We're going to bring these over to the pad and we're going to paste them down. Oops, stamp. There we go. So go to the repository, select the character that you want to bring over to the pad, go to the pad, navigate to the location you want it, and use S to stamp it, copy down. Repository, pad, stamp. Repository, select a new character, pad, stamp. So there you can see that, multiple different characters stitched together. Now you can see how they will look when they're set side by side. And that's true with the semi-graphics characters as well, which is kind of useful. So let's talk a little bit more about the editor again. So I think that sort of demonstrates the idea of the pad. So let's say, for example, that we wanted to make the single line a double line. So we can draw this, and we'll see that it also updates not only the repository, but also the pad at the same time. Whoops. So here I am using set or enter to set the pixel, clear or C or the clear key to clear the pixel, T to toggle or just switch back and forth between on or off. I can do an I to completely invert if I so desire. I can use W to completely wipe the character and make it all ones. And I can turn on a grid if I kind of want to see where I am. So let's navigate over to this guy. And let's do the similar thing that we did before. Draw our double line. So here I'm using the arrow keys and the space bar to navigate and alter the graphic. And we'll go back over here, edit the last character in our set of 4 of interest. Okay, and then you'll see the pad update, and sure enough, we managed to get these lines all lined up. It wasn't particularly hard because we already had a set of lines that would work, but for the sake of argument, there we go. So anyway, there's any number of different types of character sets you could draw in here. For example, I mean, I think you probably see examples of bombs and explosions. In addition to alphanumeric text, we can also do something like, let's go ahead and head back to the repository, and let's save this just for the purposes of the demo. We'll call it lower 2. We'll save it out to drive 0, and this is an opportunity to pick the location in RAM where Lodem would put it, and that way you can all that much more easily point CoCo VGA to it, so that you can upload it into CoCo VGA's memory. So I don't know, arbitrarily we'll pick 4000 hex. So there we go. Now it's written out. We can load it back whenever we want. So let's, as an example, let's look at our directory listing. Let's restore. Let's choose blocky 8 character set. So load blocky 8. Oops, doesn't exist. Blocky 8. There we go. From drive 0. Oh, there we go. Hey, look at that. We got some brick walls in blocky 8. We could make edits to this, and then when we were all done, we could save it out and load a different character set. Let's go back to lower 2 from drive 0. And boom, there it is. So anyway, I think that generally demonstrates all the basic features of Ccvedit. Hope it interested you, and if you'd like to download it, please go to the CoCo VGA website, or feel free to contact me at info@cocovga.com, and I'm happy to answer questions or help you get started. Thanks a lot.